Hello and welcome to TU Dublin Talks, episode 11. My name is Daniel Donovan. I'll be your host for today's episode, and joining me here is Sandra Thompson, our STLR team lead on the Blanchardstown campus. How are you, Sandra?
Hi Dan, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, yeah.
I know you're busy, so we'd say thanks for giving us a bit of your time today. Just so like we said, Sandra is our STLR team leader alongside Paul Dervan. We'll let Sandra just introduce herself a bit for people who may not know you or may not know a bit about you.
Hi, so I am a lecturer in the School of Business. I lectured on this sports management programme for over 5 years, I think, and then I started leading the Student Transformative Learning Record programme in May 2018. So I've been doing that myself and Paul Dervan since then, and I'm here to talk about it.
Yeah, so as you had mentioned, you are a lecturer on the sports management coaching course in accounting for non-accountants. So Sandra would have been my lecturer way back when. Feels like a long time ago now.
Excellent student, Dan.
I think I got an A or somewhere near anyways.
I think so, yeah.
But so now, as Sandra said, she's moved on and is now the co-lead of the STLR Programme alongside Paul Dervan. So just give us a brief overview of what STLR actually is. You said it's the Student Transformative Learning Record, but just in short, for someone that knows nothing about STLR, what would you say what it is?
So in short, it gives students a second transcript to show a prospective employer what skills they have developed outside their discipline. So for example, they would be working in teams, but that won't show on their academic transcript. But the STLR transcript will show the employer how they have developed teamwork, leadership, interpersonal skills, communication skills. All that will be displayed on the transcript, and it gives them more opportunities to develop these skills on TU Dublin campus and outside TU Dublin campus. And an employer can even give feedback to the student, and the student can get that onto their STLR record. So it captures everything that the academic transcript doesn't capture at the moment. So this is what we wanted to do for students, that we wanted to give them the recognition that they deserve beyond their discipline.
Very good. Now, obviously, for those of you that are on campus or might just even follow our Instagram page, you would have seen we were peppering you with STLR tagged events. So that was us, myself, Kelly, Tiff and Ronan linking up with Sandra and Paul to be able to tag our events so that students who took part or participated could then get recognition from STLR. And that's what, so for people who are probably, people had asked us plenty of times, what's this STLR what, and we had to kind of explain it a bit. Now, probably didn't give the best explanation we could because we're still figuring it out ourselves, but I think it got a good little bit of traction then as we kind of went through the events. People started to understand a bit more what it was, and we're kind of looking forward to kind of, like you're saying, developing those little bit of soft skills and getting recognition for it, something that can make them attractable to employers.
Exactly. And it's through events like that, what you are running, that we could capture those transformative learning experiences, because that's the essence of STLR, is that we create these transformative learning experiences for students, and we can actually give them recognition for them taking the initiative to attend your events. So like the event that you held for Mental Health Talk, like that was excellent to see so many students attending that, and what they got out of that, they would never get out of an academic transcript. So those experiences are called transformative learning experiences, and that's what we want to increase in TU Dublin.
Now, like obviously we had said at the start that you were a lecturer beforehand and now you are where you are, but can you just give us the kind of backstory to how you became involved with STLR and how STLR was brought to our campus in Blanchardstown?
Yeah. So whenever I was a lecturer, and you'd probably know that I always enjoyed the banter in the lecture, and it was always I would always see the academic students flourishing. They were really, really good, but you could see students that could have really good interpersonal skills that wouldn't have as good an academic grade, and I always said those students are being hard done by. So in May 2018, we found STLR in the University of Central Oklahoma. So we got in contact with those guys, and they were so good. We went out and visited them out in Oklahoma, and we learned all about STLR there. Like, they showed us, I think, over 4 days how STLR operated in their university, and they actually created it. Dr. Jeff King and his team over there, and they've helped us to bring STLR to TU Dublin. We came back then and we presented it to management, and management really seen the benefit of it. And by getting their support, we were able to bring it in then in January 2019. So we had a lot of planning to do from May 2018 to January 2019. And we started off with a small pilot just in Bachelor of Business students, about 180 students. And that went well. And then management gave us further support then to roll it out to the School of Business in September 2019. And that's where we are now at the moment. So we had one full semester with almost 800 students taking STLR on board. So that was fantastic. And we have got huge support. Like, you guys have given us so many events, the STLR tag that we plague you, and that you go and plague the students for us. Like, you know, but it's really, really good to see the students engaging in the program, because it's for them in essence.
Yeah, because it was nice as well to kind of be able to have that little trip away to, like, it's all one thing. Like, you could have done it across emails, being like, oh, this is what it is, but to really kind of to figure out what it is and the ins and outs, to be able to give them the go ahead to go across, that was good. Obviously you get the support of the management. Yeah,
and like, you would never be able to get that experience through email and to really see how it works. Like, you had to go over there and see how it works over there. Yeah.
And what was the campus like over there in Oklahoma?
Oh, it's fab. It was fab. Yeah, like, and it was in May, so the sun was out, so it was just lovely. Now, unfortunately, the students weren't there, because they were on break. But the whole campus was so picturesque. Like, it was really, really nice. Yeah.
For like something out of the films.
It was, yeah, totally, yeah.
So, like, as you said, then they've developed it over there, and you've come across it and then tried to integrate, and then did integrate it here. Obviously the pilot went well, and then you're able to expand into the full School of Business, which is what then included the sports management and coaching course, and then the other business courses, which allowed us to kind of link up with you. So we had said to start giving you a brief overview just so people get a taste of what STLR is. So it's made up of a couple of competencies. If you want to just kind of briefly go through them, so people get a clearer picture of what STLR actually is.
Exactly, yeah. So students can develop skills across many different competencies, and there are 5 competencies that they're actually, we call them like little buckets, where the skills are dropped into each bucket, and students should, like, we recommend, pick up skills in each of these competencies. So the 5 competencies are civic knowledge, skills and experience. So that's the one where the students go out and volunteer, and they get recognition for that activity, for volunteering, or going out to the schools like what you guys do, go out and coach the kids in the schools. Like, the next one then is global culture competence. So that's doing the global classroom and getting experience, international experience, culture experience, and being responsible citizens for everybody's culture. The third one is research and innovation. So that's a huge one, where students are doing research every day. They're picking up skills, they're picking up critical thinking skills, problem solving skills, that they're the type of skills that employers are looking for. So that's one of the competencies. The fourth competency then is leadership and teamwork, okay, which you guys in sports management and coaching, you are just picking them up everywhere, because it's so integrated into your course. So teamwork, but it's as simple as being in a team and doing an assignment for a module. That you can get credits for that. And students are developing skills in a team, doing an assignment together that will be so valuable to them when they go into the workplace, because that's what employers want. And the last one then is health and well-being development. So again, you guys are picking that up in bucket loads in sports management and coaching, but it's all about being able to work balance, college balance, life, and being able to tell the employer, I was able to take part in this team, but I still got my 2-1 in my degree. So having that balance. So students, we want them to pick up these competencies, transformative learning experiences in these competencies, so that they can show that to the employer.
Yeah, and a lot of what you say there is kind of relating back to employers, and it's those sort of kind of, they're saying, soft skills that people, like, especially I think when you're coming in as a first year, if you're coming straight out of secondary school, that you don't really pay as much attention to these sort of things as you should, and you'd be kind of like, can fob it off a little bit. But you realise then that the further you go into your degree, or when you actually finish, that those sort of skills, like you're saying, is what every employer looks for, and the piece of paper gets you in the room for an interview, but it's what you do then, and showing, like you're saying, that you can work in teams and that you've worked with like diverse cultures. Like the workforce out there, especially like obviously in Ireland, it is very culturally diverse. People from all over the world come to live and work in Ireland, and being able to kind of collaborate and work together, it's stuff like that. It's invaluable experiences, and to be able to have, it's kind of more tools to the armour for people going out trying to get jobs.
Yeah, and one of the big things is that students are now bringing their STLR transcript into an interview with them, because it's a talking point, and it helps them to draw out their experiences that they may not have remembered when they're in that interview. And we had one student that went in for an interview, and she got placed first on the panel because she was able to speak about her experiences through STLR and to draw out her skills. And another student brought her STLR transcript in, and the employer said, whenever you're going for an interview again, just bring in your STLR record. We don't want to see anything else. This is it. So that was great response that we got from industry as well. Industry has always backed us. We met with them in January 2019 when we had about 20 representatives from industry, and they were saying, like, why is this not done already? So they're really backing us to keep this going, as well.
Yeah, and like you're saying, to get that kind of response from the people who are like looking for the employees coming in, it's great. And like I remember when you were explaining to me the first time, you said it's literally like an alternate CV,
Yeah.
And like you're saying that they were told that just bring that next time. That's obviously how good it is, like how useful it can be.
Yeah, but you know yourself, like when you're writing CVs, well, no, you wouldn't know, Dan, okay? But some people can write anything on a CV, but the difference between this transcript and your CV is that this is authenticated. So whatever is on that transcript, it's went through a quality process. It's graded against a STLR rubric, and the students are given achievement levels by a STLR trained staff. So it's not something that you can just write down. That's one of the best selling points. Exactly. Yeah. But our students would never do that.
No, but that's it. You're dead right though. It's kind of eliminates the thing of where you can all polish things up on a CV. You could say like you done a bit more than you actually did or whatever. But this is it's in stone. It's down in writing and certified. Yeah. But it's nice as well because they have to do the work to get the certification, and I suppose that brings a little bit of kind of reward in itself, that you've worked for someone, you've gotten something to show for it then.
Yeah. Like when we started this out, students saying, oh, I don't want to do STLR, but now we're getting students coming to us saying, can this be STLR tagged? Or can this, if I go to this event, will I get this STLR tagged? And then another thing is that students are actually going to these events like your mental health talk because they want to now. There's more awareness of these events happening, and as well as that, lecturers are bringing in different alternative assessment methods to see, maybe if I did it that way, I could get the students to reflect on it better. Like we had one lecturer that said to us this, that kind of just changed her CA a little bit, but she said that it was actually excellent because the feedback that she got from the students' experience was so much more rewarding than any other year because she got the student to reflect on it better through transformative learning. So that was one of a big selling point for us too.
Yeah, because I've found, and I know Kelly and Tiff would feel the same, that obviously we got good numbers in our events and stuff as well throughout the year, but then when we started kind of rolling out the STLR stuff and we were announcing that it is STLR tagged, some people would be asking us, is it that we were getting a bit kind of more numbers through the door once they kind of figured out what it actually was and how beneficial it was to them. So it was a selling point for us to be able to be like, we could be like, oh, we're doing this event, but then when we add the STLR tag, kind of it's another incentive for people to arrive because they know they can get something for it.
Exactly, yeah. And the students do so much work already. This isn't any additional work for them. They're only getting recognition for what they're already doing inside their module or whether it's happening on campus. And a lot of students would be, especially in the sports management and coaching, would have different experiences outside the TU Dublin campus, and it's important to get them on the transcript as well. So if they put in a reflection to the STLR team, we can grade it against the STLR rubric, and it will be on the transcript then.
Yeah, because I know you'd mentioned that mental health talk that we held, and about STLR being integrated into assessments, which is what Emer Faye done for her class. Her whole assessment was for that mental health talk that the students went and they watched and listened and then they reflected on it. But there's levels to the recognition you can get though, isn't it? There's was it exposure and then If
Exactly.
you want to explain a bit of that.
Yeah, so there's 3 different levels of achievements under Stellar, and we don't like to call them credits because we don't want them to get confused with the module credits. Like, so we call them achievements, like, because students are always thinking about credits, but we like to say achievements. So the 3 of them are integration. We'll start off at the beginning. Exposure, which is just showing up to an event and you show a willingness to learn. You're inquisitive to learn a different value. And that's the easiest one to get. Then you have integration, and that makes a Stellar trained staff think, okay, this student is changing slightly his perspective on their values. And then transformation is the big ha-ha moment where you realise the student has turned a corner and really see the value of changing their opinion for the better that will benefit everybody in their lives and for themselves as well. Now, we might have one transformation this semester, which we're very excited about. But just to put it into perspective, UCO, the University of Central Oklahoma, who has been running Stellar for 5 years, they have over 16,000 events and continuous assessments, but only 16% of those assessments have ever received transformation. So it is quite rigid. The quality that we have to impose on the assessment and on grading against the Stellar rubric is really important for us.
Yeah, I suppose, obviously not handing it out willy-nilly, like the transformations, we have to work for it.
Yeah,
but it is nice though, I think, that there is the kind that you have the levels where obviously you're saying for transformation there is a lot more work that will go into it than just showing up, but that it's a nice easy process that you can show up and you can be attentive and you can get your exposure, and then if you really are interested and you want to go further with it, there is options, so that like not everyone is getting to the highest level of accreditation just for showing up, that you have to do the extra bit of work, but it's for things that you're obviously interested in.
Yeah, like one of the key things is that transformative learning is all about critical reflection. So it's like I don't know about you, but sometimes you'd be driving home in the car from work and thinking, oh, I should have said that in the meeting. Oh, if I had done it this way, I would have got this result, So it's all about reflective thinking, and it's that big, I should have done that moment, So that's where we want to get students to reflect on their experiences to learn from them.
And it's like, I suppose the easier, the earlier you do learn to do it, I would have found as a student, the better, because you're kind of, as you start coming to 3rd and 4th year in your degree, from my experience, they're hammering you with reflective thinking and critical thinking and all this, and to be able to kind of get that nailed down, because it's not the easiest thing in the world to do sometimes, to be able to reflect and to do it properly, to be able to get that in early. If you're fresher coming in now and you kind of get involved with Stellar stuff and you kind of learn how to reflect, and then you'll see that these things coming into your assignments later on, which will help you.
Exactly, and 1st and 2nd years, this is a totally different landscape for them. They've never been used to it, and but by the time, like what you said, when you come to 3rd year, you realise the importance of it, and that's the big changing point. So we'd be looking at the reflections that students would be handing in from 1st and 2nd year, and they'd be different to the ones that a 3rd and 4th year student would be handing in.
Yeah, definitely. I just wanted to then talk a little bit about, so you said you've done the full semester now in the School of Business after the pilot passing, and what were your expectations of this full semester, and then how did it kind of weigh up to the reality of how it went?
Okay, well, COVID-19 had an impact on our, but look, we're making the best of a bad situation, like everybody. But semester 1 was really good. We had over 50% engagement from students, so that was super for us. And the lecturers are taking it on board really, really well. We couldn't, myself and Paul are co-leading this, okay? But there's the amount of staff, academic staff and professional staff that has supported Stellar has been huge, and that's so important for us to be able to run this program, because we can't do it without their support and them taking it into their CAs. So the number of CAs are increasing every semester. So what I mean by CAs is that lecturers are taking in the Stellar rubric and they're grading it against a CA as well as academically. So that's good for us. The events, and I think we Stellar tagged every event that you were running. We got loads of them. We got loads of them in semester 1. Obviously in semester 2 we went on campus, so we couldn't have the same number of events. But in saying that, I'm hoping that the engagement levels will still be the same for semester 2. So we'll know that in June. But the next plan then is next September, and one of our big selling points is now next semester is that we're automating all the processes in STLR, because we have a built in to Moodle now, which will go live at the end of September. So that's a big selling point for us.
Yeah, that's something I actually had written down. I was going to mention that you went digital with it, which is obviously going to happen at some point anyways, but with the circumstances now, it's obviously sped up the process because you don't really have a choice.
Exactly,
but it is good because everything, like, students are always, like, if it's on phones or laptops, whatever, so it's the easiest way to get onto these sorts of things, and to have it, then you kind of have everything on a database there. I think it's easier for everybody.
Exactly. Like the student will have a dashboard, so it's like that they'll be able to see everything on that dashboard, like how many competencies they've got, how many achievements they've got under each competencies, and they can create the transcript on this dashboard as well, so that they can send it to an employer in like ahead of an interview, and they can push it into the e-portfolio as well that we've connected into the plugin in Moodle. So a lot of this is for the student to be able to use STLR every single day, not just at the end of the year to pump out a transcript for an employer.
Yeah. Obviously, you said the bit of a spanner in the works, well, for everything and everyone with the COVID-19 situation, but you had been going well up until that stage. Like you said, you're getting kind of integration of the CAs from lecturers and from events that are run on site, and I know then you went to the Fingal Business Awards and you won the Best Public Service Award, so that obviously must have been a huge boost, obviously only starting up.
Huge. Yeah, like that was, like, we filled in the application form thinking, okay, look, this is good practice for us to get knowledge of how these award ceremonies work, like, and we went off that night thinking this is a great night out, like, you know, like we're really going to have a good night, and then we won, which we weren't expecting at all. So, but what it was, the judges' feedback comment was, this is a framework that is really needed. So that was one of the best endorsements that we could get from industry, to get that award, because it's voted for and judged by industry, and that's where we want this transcript to go, that when a student leaves TU Dublin, it should automatically think, the employer should automatically think, okay, this student has a STLR transcript, I want to see what skills they have developed that will help them in this position. Yeah.
And I think even now still that it's still fresh to everyone, and obviously it's only been School of Business students who have really got the exposure to it. But I still think people don't understand how big this will become. Especially if it catches on, like the way it's obviously it's a full thing now over in Oklahoma, and it's been able to come over here. Like, there's no reason why in the next couple of years that you won't see STLR in every third level institution in the country. And we're obviously getting the start of it, getting exposure to it early, which is really good. It's a huge advantage.
Exactly, like TU Dublin is the only European country that has STLR. So it's a huge advantage that we are at the forefront of this. And a lot of the countries, like Canada is doing it, Australia is doing it, they're coming out with a skills passport, which is essentially a STLR transcript. So it's great to be on par with the other leading countries in education. And one of the ethos of TU Dublin is transformative education. So like this totally agrees with the TU Dublin strategy.
Yeah, I suppose as well, to be in the kind of in the groupings with the likes of Canada and Australia, who for a lot of things would be held as models of best practice. I know a lot of times we would have been doing stuff in sport, and Australia would have come up a lot for models of best practice. So to be able to kind of be on the same wavelength as them, I think certainly, like I'm saying, in a couple of years' time, a lot of places or even other countries or even other institutions in Ireland will be like, why didn't we do this first?
Yeah. So like we're really lucky that we have the support to go out and do this, like and to go out with such an engagement level from students is huge.
So we had said then, kind of, we've gone through what STLR is and how you have got it from an idea to actually getting up and running. Now we had also mentioned, obviously you've probably had a lot of plans for the upcoming year, which I'd say all of more or less has been altered in some way. Now you said you're going digital. Is there any other plans to expand STLR going forward?
Yeah, look, well, we're always hoping that it develops into different departments, but we just have to wait and see how School of Business goes. But we have, for the next 3 years anyhow, in the School of Business, there is a larger project that's called Transform Edu project, and it's pans across all the university. We're also STLR tagging different activities in the city campus and in Tala as well. So we have a few early adapters in both campuses that would love to take STLR on board. So that's really encouraging for us too, that we can see that STLR can go further than, say, the TU Dublin Blanchardstown campus.
Yeah, definitely. I think we've covered everything of what STLR is. It's not a complicated thing, which is really good, because like I know when you handed us the handbook that time to read it, just to go through what it is, it's very easy to understand. And once we kind of explained to the students, like as best as we could anyways, because obviously you'd explain it better than us, but the students got the gist of it. The students got the gist, and that's why they kept coming back to all of our STLR tagged events. But just to kind of tidy up and finish off, for the likes of our first, second and third years, or anyone that's staying on with us, or anyone that might be listening that might be coming into TU Dublin Blanchardstown, what can you recommend for them in terms of STLR and how to get involved and how to get the most out of it, really?
Yeah, I would say from day one, when you come into TU Dublin Blanch, that you go and get any STLR experiences that you can on your transcript and record them, and get your competencies built up from year 1 to year 4, because then you'll have a lovely transcript to leave when you're going out to an employer. This is all outside your discipline, and this is all about developing your employability skills so that you can increase your chances of getting a job. The first and second years, it's really easy to think that you don't need this, but believe me, I have so many fourth year students coming up to me and say, can I STLR tag experiences that I had in first year and second year, because they really want a lovely transcript to show the employer. So just get involved, but one of the main things is to enjoy the transformative learning experiences that we're offering them, because if they don't enjoy it, they're not going to get anything out of it.
Yeah, I know it can sound a bit wordy, like transformative learning and whatnot, but it is like, just to give people an example, like we said, we'd held mental health talks and stuff like that, and just like kind of sports events and activities that you could get all this exposure and accreditation for. So it's not, it sounds quite, it could be very academic in ways with the big words and whatever, but a lot of it is just it's fun. It's like things that you would go to anyways, stuff that you'd actually want to be a part of, and now you're getting recognition for it. So there's literally no reason not to get involved. I know I'm raging that. Like obviously I finished up last year, and now this is all coming in and I'm gone, so won't get to reap the rewards of it. But look. Do
you remember asking when you started as an intern last September, can I get this on a STLR transcript?
I was trying to get the E-tag.
Yeah. So no, it's really good for the students. Like
but look, I might be able to put on my CV that I was a STLR leader.
You will, and you can put me down as a reference.
But look, Sandra, we really appreciate your time and to give us that little bit of insight into a really, really fantastic program, give so many opportunities to our students, and I know that this will go a lot further than Blanchardstown in the coming years, with all the hard work yourself and Paul and the rest of the team are putting in. So just a well done from all of us in the sports department, because you've helped us a lot getting our events out there.
Yeah, but we have to say thanks to you guys for giving us all the opportunities to create the STLR tagged activities, because we really piggybacked off your events. So like we couldn't do it without you guys. And as well as that, giving us the time to speak on this podcast. It's brilliant to get it out there as well. So thank you.
Yes, you're very welcome. So if anyone does have any questions, if they listen to this and they want to know about STLR, where can they get some information?
Yeah, so they can go to our website. So it's on the TU Dublin website, Blanchardstown Campus STLR. So it has a page. As well as that, you can follow us on Instagram, and you can follow us on Twitter. And as well as that, email any questions you have at stellar@tudublin.ie.
Great. To anyone listening at home, thanks very much for giving us your time and lending us your ear. And that's all we have time for today, and we'll see you again soon for another TU Dublin Talks.
Thanks a million, Dan. See ya.